A very warm welcome to you at home. I am Musam Kalipi and this is Afroshowbiz News, the show that keeps you in the know about all things art and entertainment from around Africa. Now, to keep in touch, feel free to email us at afroshowbiznews@sabc.co.za or also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at AfroShowbizNews. Let's get right to it with today's headlines. The Marikana film Miners Shot Down gets special screenings. South Asian mosaic art on show in Kenya. Police ban screening of a film in Zimbabwe. The multi-award-winning documentary Miners Shot Down will have 2 special screenings this Saturday at Cinema Novo. The documentary tells a story for striking Marikana miners who were shot and killed by police in South Africa's Platinum Belt exactly 2 years ago.
The film is commemorating the 2-year anniversary of the Marikana massacre that took place at the Lonmin mines. In August 2012, mine workers in Lonmin began on a strike for better wages. 6 days into the strike, the police used live ammunition to brutally suppress the strike, killing 34 and injuring many more miners. The documentary, directed by Rehat Desai, follows the strike from day one. Lonmin is one of South Africa's biggest platinum mines. This was the country's first post-apartheid massacre. The documentary has been a festival's favorite, opening leading international documentary festivals like One World and Sheffield. It won the best film at One World in Prague, Movies That Matter in The Hague, and the Human Rights Human Dignity International Film Festival in Myanmar. The other award was Amnesty International Human Rights Award, which it bagged at the recent Durban International Film Festival last month. The ongoing Falam Commission of Inquiry into the massacre began in October 2012 and recently had its deadline extended yet again until the end of September. The screenings will take place at 5 and at 8, only at Cinema Novo theaters across the country.
Theatre actors in South Sudan presents a series of street dramas titled Education for the People, Grasp It. This is to promote girls' education.
The performances aim to explore the value of education in South Sudan, especially girls' education, and to illustrate the challenges girls face in their communities, such as early marriage. Lack of education for girls is one of the many issues facing Africa's youngest country.
We went to the market, make a research, asking about what that they have in their community. Don't let the girl go to school and what. When we get all this research and then we come and sit down, we're starting scripting our play.
The street theatre troupe is made up of actors from the South Sudan Theatre Group in collaboration with international NGO Free Press Unlimited, which works with disenfranchised communities to provide better access to news and information.
I think the community can benefit a lot from such plays because it is a good way to educate the community, and also it will help us to develop and change some harmful habits in our traditions as South Sudanese.
The actors also keep things simple, with few props and no lighting, and also use costumes that reflect local customs so as not to sideline the audience. They hope their engagement with local communities will have some impact and help improve the lives of women and young girls.
Former Sudanese child soldier, now famed actor and model Jer Dene is in Kenya to search for his family. Kenyan newspaper The Star reported that he last saw his loved ones in the 1980s during the Sudanese Civil War.
At age 14, Duwani fled to Ethiopia, escaping the hands that had turned him into a cold-blooded killer. He later received asylum from the United States of America. The actor is now in Kenya in hopes of finding his long-lost family. His voyage then morphed into a brilliant documentary idea, which he showed with filmmaker Wanori Kai. The film is titled To Be Separated. Since he left his country of birth at a young age, most of his family and relatives thought he was no more. Duwani had been separated from his family for 18 years. His latest project is a Hollywood film that stars Reese Witherspoon and rapper Emmanuel Jal, titled A Good Lie. The film is inspired by the true story of the Lost Boys It's a collection of stories put into one narrative by writer Margaret Nagley.
Great.
Where is your husband?
No, I'm not married. I provide for myself.
Your survival skills are very impressive.
Thanks.
The Good Lie because it's reliving Duane's pastime of trauma in a therapeutic creative release. He said he had to dig deep within himself to get the story out. He believes that this movie is good for his country and not just for his personal career. He also believes that a platform like this is needed to tell stories that can be seen and felt.
You're being asked to make choices no one should have to make.
I don't think they're going to make it if they're not together.
I will pray for you.
The National Dance Trust is calling for auditions for Spartacus Africa. To tell us more about this, we are joined from our Cape Town studios by Robin Taylor. She's one of the board members of the South African National Dance Trust, which is putting together Spartacus Africa. Robin, welcome to Afroshowbiz News.
Good morning. Lovely to be with you.
Thank you for joining us. Now, Robin, tell us a bit about what Spartacus Africa really entails.
Well, the Spartacus of Africa is a reworked, re-choreographed version of South African choreographer Veronica Paper's original ballet called Spartacus, which was last shown in South Africa in the 1980s. And it's now coming to stages in South Africa in 2015, and we're thrilled to say that it's been readapted and will be a Spartacus of Africa.
Mm-hmm. Now, Robin, what is the main purpose of this event?
Well, there's so much dance potential in South Africa, and yet it's kind of dispersed and isolated into small groups. And what this opportunity is offering is a national collaboration of various dance styles coming together in a grand scale, world-class production.
Now, Robin, please speak to us about the various dance styles that are taking part in Spartacus of Africa.
Well, ideally, the lead roles are still going to be classical ballet, but all the big core roles, and I'm saying big because there are going to be over 130 dancers involved in this production, will be made up of contemporary dancers, jazz dancers, and other forms of dance. So it opens up the scope for opportunity for very many dancers, whereas classical ballet is a very limited access. And we have so much potential in the dance forms throughout South Africa that we just felt that it was necessary to do something of this nature and combine all the dance forms together.
Now, Robin, speaking of dancers, what sort of criteria do you guys look for when you select the dancers to take part in this event?
Well, if I can just share that there are 3 different categories that we're putting dancers into, really. Firstly, we have international guest artists who are coming in to do some of the lead roles. Then we have the next group, which are our local South African professional dancers. And they can come from across any dance form board. So if they're a contemporary freelance dancer, but professional in that, in other words, this is what they do for their living, then they are welcome to audition. If they're classical dancers, classical ballet dancers, perhaps even ballroom dancers, the auditions will be fairly simple in that they will do warm-up dance class that they're all mostly used to. And thereafter, there are also student auditions for student dancers. The only requirement with the student dancers is that they must be over the age of 15 years of age and had at least 5 years of dance training of some sort.
And now, which provinces will you be taking this production and when exactly?
The production opens at the Johannesburg Theatre on the 30th of May 2015, and we run for 2 weeks in Johannesburg. We then come to Cape Town to the Artscape Opera House and run for 2 weeks, and then we take it to Natal to the Playhouse in Durban. So it truly is a national tour of this production.
Now, Natasha, this is quite a big production. Now, what has been some of the challenges or the main challenges while putting together this production?
You know, I suppose it's like any big project. It's just the coordination of all the various inputs. So to get theatre space together with orchestras in that city, together with dancers availability, and then to have the pre-production time available in which to rehearse and put the production together. So we have actually been working on this project for the past 4 years. It's been a great build-up. And we're really excited about getting it out onto stages and inspiring audiences with a fantastic African experience, which we believe it is going to be.
All right, Robin, now just briefly, how important do you think it is for dancers in South Africa to be exposed to such massive productions?
You know, in South Africa, most of the productions are fairly small scale due to budget restraints. So if we can offer something of this nature and scale, it's the norm overseas for big productions and big dance projects to be staged. And I feel that it will elevate our dancers to a different level, especially having international guest artists involved. They're going to be setting a very high standard, and we believe that it will have a ripple effect.
All right, well, Robin,
really
I'm afraid
inspire.
that is where we'll have to wrap it up. Time is up. Thank you very much for joining us.
Super, thank you. Thanks.
All right, we'll now go for a quick ad break, but do stay tuned for more.
An American-based foundation has donated 15 million rand for the construction of a clinic at Umlazi.
This facility that is going to be built here with a 15 million rand contribution from AHF is, among other things, going to actually help us to expand.
Itembaletu Clinic is the only clinic that caters solely for HIV patients. It accommodates 16,000 people.
Your world, weekdays between 11 and 12 midnight.
Welcome back. South Sudan's capital, Juba, recently played a host to the Fashion and Arts for Peace Festival.
The aim of the event was to raise money and awareness on the difficulty of thousands of South Sudanese who were affected by the country's political crisis. However, organizers of the event are hoping to inspire South Sudanese to come together and showcase some of the country's riches, including culture and fashion. In its second edition, the festival aims to promote peace and tolerance in the country through artistic expression. The event provided a platform for artisans and artists to show and sell their work, showcasing jewelry and fashion items made from local materials and designs that they hope will have global appeal. The event also featured dancing, singing and food. Founder and organizer Akuja Harang hopes that the festival will help South Sudanese to be a unified state.
All as South Sudanese, we knew we already had tensions brewing on the ground, our lack of understanding of who we are as a nation of South Sudan, our identity. We don't know each other as the different groups. So the idea, the concept of the whole thing is to try and bring the regular people together, yeah? The people who really, you know, the artisans who are out there, not just in Juba.
Harang said she hopes that the event can also help change perceptions of South Sudan and promote a positive image of the country. Some visitors were also happy to be part of this event.
I saw everything that reflect more or less some of our cultures and also some books. You see, that's why I decided to buy this book.
Combat in the nation that won independence from Sudan in 2011 has played out along deep ethnic responsibility lines. According to UN officials, the UN peacekeeping operation in South Sudan is slaughtering nearly 100,000 civilians at its bases.
Hands Off Our Elephants is an anti-poaching organization in Kenya. It is now working with local rapper Juliani to educate locals about poaching in the country.
Contemporary rapper Julian was on a fact-finding mission at the Amboseli National Park in Kenya recently. The mission was to learn more about elephants and efforts to protect them. Some of what he was told about includes anti-poaching initiative, land protection, community involvement and research. Juliani met up with some of the members of Amboseli Trust for Elephants. One of those members is Katito Sailel, who has been studying elephants for over 20 years. He knows all the elephants in the Amboseli by name. The elephants in the region are the most studied elephants in the world, with the Amboseli Trust for Elephants conducting elephant studies for more than 40 years. Juliani is the face of Ndovu Song competition, which invites people to celebrate elephants by composing original songs.
The annual South Asian Mosaic of Society and the Arts Festival is currently taking place in Kenya. It started on the 13th of August and will end on the 31st of August. The annual Samusa Festival fuses different aspects of the Asian and African cultures, from music, art, performance and theatre, to create a platform where matters of national cohesion can be promoted. The festival provides a unique platform to bring the community together and takes place biannually with a series of events set to commence during the 2-week period. This year's festival will focus on target audiences, and the events will enable groups of people to engage in different capacities. Samusa was first established in 2005 and is the only cross-cultural festival of its kind in East Africa. A discussion forum which will feature 12 prominent personalities will be part of this year's festivities. Issues to be discussed are race, ethnicity and class. As the country commemorates 50 years of independence, a concert night featuring local musicians with traditional contemporary music instruments will keep crowds entertained. For theatre lovers, Kaldip Sondi's play Beach Access will be showcased at the Louis Auditorium. August marks Women's Month, and recently technology company Huawei took part in an event titled Women in Praise in Cape Town. Now, to talk to us about how all this came about is Portia Mvubu, Public Relations Assistant Manager at Huawei in South Africa. Hello and welcome to Afroshowbiz News.
Thank you so much for having me, Musa.
Thank you for coming. Now, Portia, just briefly, tell us a bit about what you do and what your company does.
I represent Huawei South Africa. I'm the PR assistant manager there, and we take care of a lot of things, relations, and most importantly, corporate social responsibility.
Now, Portia, tell us what Women in Praise is all about.
Women in Praise is an annual event that takes place in the Western Cape, Cape Town. It's an annual event, and we've been principal sponsors for the event for the 2nd year now.
Now, Portia, how did your company get involved with Women in Praise?
It's a technology company, so most of the projects we focus on are based on technology, but sometimes, given an opportunity like Women's Month, we'd like to do something for women. So we have a lot of proposals and applications for sponsorships, and obviously others stand out over others. And a Women in Praise, we were particularly interested by it because it was started by women, and it was a platform given for women to express their talents across ballet, dance and choral music and various other arts.
Now, the women that took part in the event, where are these women from?
Mostly they're from the Western Cape, but it was very interesting to see this year they even included women from Eastern Cape, from Gauteng, some from KZN. Grace Constable, the founder of this project, she would like to see it grow, and that's what brought us on board, and we'd like to see it grow with them. So they'd like to see it become a national event.
Now, Portia, I understand that most of the women that took part in the event are from disadvantaged areas. Now, why do you think your company found it important to, take part in such an initiative?
Look, Women's Month is celebrating women who stood up and said no more to waiting for opportunities coming to you, but standing up and doing something about it. So it was all about supporting that. And disadvantaged people in the Western Cape feel their heritage, like the Khoisan heritage, is not supported. And we felt that as a corporate, a responsible corporate rather, we should step on board and give them that opportunity for them to grow.
Now, in terms of women in arts, do you think that women are given enough platforms on the country to express their arts?
Well, Things are done. There are platforms given for women, but more could be done. There's room for improvement in the industry, and especially arts that are related to our heritage. There's a lot of room for improvement there.
Now, has your company been involved in any similar projects, or do you guys maybe plan to get involved in any similar projects in the future?
We would love to do more projects supporting women. We have done it previously, and this is one of our, like we're on our second year, supporting women in praise, but we'd like to look at more. Of course, our strategy focuses more on ICT related because that's the sector we're based in, but we'd like to open up more to other sectors, and especially the sector of arts.
All right, thank you so much, Portia, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that was Portia Mvubu talking to us about Women in Praise. Now, this week, we take a look at a book titled Sometimes There Is a Void by South African author Zakes Mda. There Is a Void is an account of the life of Zakes Mda and provides us with some answers. In the book, Zakes speaks of the past and present to give a story of his development in life as an artist, musician, filmmaker, and beekeeper. Zakes Mda is an award-winning South African playwright and novelist whose work is published throughout the world. The book is a personal story of his development in life, in love, and in learning, and in the events that he hopes will shape him in the future. Mda is a founding member of the African Writers Trust. He divides his time between Ohio and South Africa, where he is a dramaturge at the Market Theatre in Johannesburg and a director of the Southern African Multimedia AIDS Trust in Sophiatown, Johannesburg. You are still watching Afroshowbiz News. Now, if you've missed any of our shows, be sure to catch us on our YouTube channel by simply searching for Afroshowbiz News. Let's now go for another quick break, and we'll be right back.
An American-based foundation has donated 15 million rand for the construction of a clinic at Umlazi.
This facility that is going to be built here with a 15 million rand contribution from AHF is, among other things, going to actually help us to expand.
Itembale to Clinic is the only clinic that caters solely for HIV patients. It accommodates 16,000 people.
Your world, weekdays between 11 and 12 midnight.
Welcome back. Zimbabwean police have blocked the screening of the highly anticipated low-budget comedy Gumasowe. The screening was to take place at the Alliance Francaise in Harare. The police say the film deals with sensitive issues.
Gumasowe tells a story of clashes between police and members of the Apostolic sect. The incident took place earlier this year, and director Silvano Mudzuva has now turned it into a film. The police have banned the film. In a Facebook post, he says he tried to plead with the police to allow him to screen it, but they refused. The police have tried to close down the rival sect operation for allegedly abusing women and children by church leader Johannes Ndanga. The Fabo story felt the police have overstepped their jurisdiction and desecrated the holy shrine. Observers have accused the police force of being intolerant and for infringing on artistic freedom. The screening was aimed at marketing and business executives. It was meant to drum up post-production resources as the film was shot with a shoestring budget.
The drumming and dancing event called ZAR was held at the Egyptian Center for Culture and Arts in Cairo.
Za is a community healing ritual of drumming and dancing with a tradition that dates back centuries and a scope that stretches from Egypt, Sudan, and Somalia all the way to the southern Iran. It is one of few traditional practices in the region where women play a leading role over men.
This happens every year. It's like a good luck charm. Sometimes the Bedouins do. They feel very calm every year. The peasant feels very calm. Of course, this is something only God can do. But eventually you feel like you have an emotional calm.
The ritual started off as a religious custom but quickly developed into a cultural aspect of Upper Egypt. It is currently viewed as a form of healing by creating harmony and peace with oneself.
Za is spiritual music for all emotional states. The music is spiritual and people love it. It gives peace to the soul.
The history of Za remains largely mysterious, but many reports say it originated in Africa. A story perhaps supported by its first popularity in the Nuba region of Egypt, which lies on the borders with Sudan.
The fusion between fashion and film will once more be seen at this year's Mercedes-Benz Bokke International Film Festival, to be held in Johannesburg in September. The fashion film is a genre pioneered by fashionistas including Karl Lagerfeld, Bruce Weber and David Sims. The festival has previously received great responses from leading fashion houses and brands as a way to introduce collections to a global audience. The festival will include several designers showcasing the unique collections featured in the motion picture. This will allow the audience to connect with the film on an emotional level. The first Bokke Fashion Festival was held in Cape Town earlier this year. Cape Town is one of the world's design capitals. The city is already a top destination for fashion shoots and a prime location for international film crews. Adrian Lazarus, marketing director of Bokke, said fashion films are the new form of communication for all major brands. To celebrate this event, Mercedes-Benz has offered the winning filmmaker a prize of 50,000 Rand in cash prize. The 11 films that will be shown at the festival include international films, narratives, documentaries, as well as music videos. Films should be from 1 to 15 minutes. Apart from the films set to be screened, 4 designers from the Cape Town Fashion Council, a non-profit organization that specializes in developing partnerships and cultivating entrepreneurship for the fashion sector, will also take part. We have now come to the end of our show, but be sure to catch our repeats every Sunday at 2 a.m. and again at 1:30 p.m. From me and the rest of the Afroshowbiz news team, it's thank you and goodbye.